Thanks for tuning into another build update. In this video, you'll see me working on the rain runoffs, making some of the first container cutouts, and getting the floor structure in place. I've come to recognize one of my first major mistakes was trying to save money on the containers. I went with the cheapest ones I could find, thinking I was being smart with the budget, but what I didn't calculate was how much time, energy, and frustration those extra dents and patches of rust would cost me. Here you can kind of see me modifying the wood to fit the specific bumps in the containers and dips in the containers, and it added so much complication, and it got me thinking about the way I look at money, not as dollars, but as energy tokens. Like if you think about it, currency is just stored effort, a tool to trade for time, yours or someone else's. And sometimes spending more money means spending less of yourself. It's been an interesting perspective shift and a lesson I'll definitely carry into future stages of this build. And in a broader sense, that principle applies to what this project is really about. Because I don't think I'm just building a structure here. I'm building a space for young men to spend the time to face themselves. And that time spent will prove more valuable than any material currency. We're living in a strange time. Never before have we had so much comfort and yet felt so deeply unfulfilled. I've spoke about this in my other videos, but so many men are silently opting out. A growing number of men over 30 are still living at home, not because they're lazy, but because they've lost a sense of purpose. They've been told they're the problem or that masculinity itself is toxic. They've been medicated, isolated, and fed a steady diet of convenience and noise until they forget what it feels like to build something, to struggle and overcome, to sweat, to fail, to try again. And that's why I'm out here. This retreat, this entire vision is a response to that crisis. It's about reconnecting with something deeply biological and real. It's about reminding ourselves that peace doesn't come from consumption. It comes from creation. That challenge is not the enemy, it's the path. And that sometimes the only way to remember who you are is to unplug from the noise, pick up a tool, and get to work. And you can see that's what I'm doing here. There's something profoundly healing about engaging with the world in a physical, real way. Out here in the woods, the distractions fall away. What's left is just you, your work, the task at hand, an occasional visit from a curious woodland creature, and whatever the weather decides to throw at you. I mean, it's simple. It's hard, it's stimulating, but it's incredibly rewarding. But the world most of us live in today is anything but simple and rewarding. We've become a society so optimized for comfort that it's slowly suffocating the human spirit. We've traded struggle for convenience. And in doing so, we've stripped away the very things that used to forge identity, purpose, and grit. 150 years ago, men had no choice but to engage with the real world. They tilled soil, built homes, raised family under threats of war, weather, scarcity. Even just a few decades ago, a young man entering adulthood was expected to provide, protect, and build, not in theory, but in practice. He was handed responsibility before he felt ready, and that's how he became ready. Today, the average young man spends over 2,000 hours a year on screens. 2,000 hours. Most of it passive consumption. A growing number don't have a driver's license, have never changed a tire, never fixed something broken with their hands. More than 60% of men under 30 are single, many not by choice. Prescription drug use is at an all-time high, and male suicide rates continue to climb, especially in those aged 15 to 44. It's a true crisis. And yet, simultaneously, we're surrounded by luxury, food delivered to our doorsteps, climate-controlled rooms, infinite entertainment at the push of a button. We have everything, and somehow it feels we've never been so deprived. It's abundance without purpose. It just becomes poison. Convenience without responsibility just breeds apathy. And the absence of real challenge robs us of the chance to discover who we are and what we want. Human beings, and men in particular, are built to contend with resistance. We're wired to overcome, to endure, to build, and in doing so, to become something stronger. When those natural callings are replaced by dopamine loops and soft distraction, the soul begins to rot. And that thought immediately makes me think of why video games are so addictive. At their core, they simulate what real life used to offer. They're structured to imitate challenge, to offer you goals, obstacles, rewards. You grind, you level up, you overcome, you build a character, face adversity, and ultimately overcome it. It taps directly into that biological wiring, that part of us that wants to struggle and grow stronger. But it's all a virtual illusion. None of it exists beyond the screen. You'll spend 40, 60, 100 hours chasing strength in a game while your real life body weakens. You'll fight monsters on screen while letting your own addictions go unchallenged. And the most tragic part, it feels like progress. That's the trap. It mimics purpose, but leaves you with nothing. And if you're a gamer, you know that dreaded feeling of lifting your head out of a 7 hour or more gaming binge and feeling you again. There's a guilt that just envelops you. It's a terrible feeling, sickening. I've experienced it. And for those creating these games, this isn't accidental. This is profitable. There's massive financial incentive in hijacking the mental energy and life direction of millions of young men. If they can keep you locked into a dopamine feedback loop, chasing achievements that don't exist, in worlds that aren't real, then they don't just own your attention, they own you. They own your future. And it's not just the game companies. The more docile, distracted, and disconnected men become, the easier they are to control. Men who are mentally castrated are not dangerous. They don't rebel, they don't organize, they don't protect, they don't build. They comply, they consume. They become predictable assets for the machine. I know I sound a little intense here, but honestly, they're useful only as passive workers, voters, and spenders. That has serious implications. Because when you remove the fire from men, when you strip away their purpose, their strength, their ability to lead, protect, and think for themselves, you don't just destroy the man, you weaken entire communities, entire societies, and soon fathers vanish, families fractures, neighborhoods decay, and soon enough, a generation forgets what it even feels like to be human, to be focused, alive in the real world. And the machine keeps running, using you as the energy, as the fuel. The longer men stay isolated, sedated, and emasculated, the easier it is to feed them the narrative. Get the degree, get the job, get the promotion. Don't question, don't desire anything different. Stay in the loop, stay online, stay manageable. And if you feel that gnawing discomfort, that quiet sense that something is wrong, don't worry. There's a pill for that. Or a new season of whatever the show is. Or another 100 hours of screen time waiting to be burned. That's the world we've created. A world where masculinity has been stripped of its sacred, important role, and instead replaced with convenience, sedation, and shame. But here's the truth no one's saying. You were made for more. That voice in your head, the one telling you something's off, that's not dysfunction. That's not depression. That's not something to be dismissed or medicated. That's your instinct. That's the healthy part of you trying to claw its way back to the surface. And that's what this project is all about. This retreat is meant to be a first step, a crack in the concrete, a reminder that the mold society made for you is not the only way to live, that ambition still burns under the surface, that discipline can be learned, that purpose can be rebuilt. It's never too late to realign with who you were meant to be. And if you're hearing this, if any part of you is stirred by these words, that means the spark is still there. That means you're not too far gone. That means you're still in the fight. So here's the call to action. Don't wait for the system to save you. It won't. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Start with what you have, where you are now. Cut out the noise. Pick up something heavy. Put it down. Pick it up again. Get outside. Fix something. Face something. Build something. This retreat is just the beginning, but it's a beginning we need. A resource for men who want out of this matrix we call life, what we call society. Not to run away, but to reclaim their strength, reclaim their direction, reclaim their sense of selves. There's a new path forming, carved by men who are ready to remember what they're made of. And if you're listening, I hope you'll be one of them. Anyway, that's enough for now. Enjoy the rest of the video if you so choose. Otherwise, you're invited to subscribe. You could also check out my website, Resetretreat.ca, where you can fill out a newsletter form that will notify you when bookings are ready. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.